So in the past video I did here a few days ago, I talked about how some trading bots is making a lot of money predicting the weather on Polymarket. And in this video, I'm going to show you what I've been working on, because I've been working on adding features to Ravn, how we can actually create a trading bot to trade on the weather. So we can start by finding a specific market on Polymarket. So I will go ahead and take the Shanghai for tomorrow. So that's gonna be 11th of April. I will say that this feature here is still not ready and it's not deployed to the beta yet of alpha. So we can start by importing the events. You can see here all the different events we have on Polymarket. So here we are looking at the highest temperature in Shanghai. So we can select all the different temperatures. In this example, I think I'm just gonna take a few of them. Let's take 18 and 19 degrees just for the sake of examples. I'm going to do 18 and 19. So these are the markets that we want to trade on. Now we also need a signal. And for that we need, let's say, the best bid. Okay, so we're going to do best bid, because remember that the prices here for the upside is the probability of the outcome. So here we can select the yes, and here we can select the yes. So that's for 18 and 19 degrees. All right, now for the new thing that I added is a weather node that you can see over here. So that's the weather forecast. And there's quite a lot of different configurations you can set. So we can select between the hourly forecast or the daily forecast. So we need the daily forecast because these markets on Polymarket is daily. And this is related to the max temperature. So we can select that from here, but we actually also have other things that we can look for. So we have the minimum temperature, we have precipitation, and we have wind speed. And I think we on Polymarkets, if we go back to Polymarket, we do have other types of markets. So we have precipitation, global tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, pandemics. So yeah, we support some of these. And this example, we're going to use the temperature. And then we want to put a forecast day offset. So that is how many days in the future do we want to check the max temperature for. So now for this market here, if we go back to the Shanghai market, this is the highest temperature in Shanghai on April 11. Today is April 10. So we're going to do a 1 day offset. Because if we did not do this, it would get the highest temperature forecast for today. So this one will get it for tomorrow. And then we can select the forecast model. And a lot of this comes from the Meteo API that I showed in the other video. So right now what I've implemented is Meteo API, because that one aggregates all of these models. And the downside of that potentially is maybe the latency of the data. I'm not sure about how bad that is right now. Like, for example, how long time does it take from one of these models to release their data and then Meteo making it available in the API? To be completely honest, I don't know that. And if this is a big issue, then what I will do is probably implement some of these models by myself. But the good thing here with Meteo is a lot of these models exist already within the API. And if you remember, I talked about the ensemble forecast. So you can see here how these models have several different members. So that means that they run the models several times. Each time they run the model is going to give a different value. So we can actually use these different members to calculate their implied probability of the highest temperature. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and use this one here. This one has 50 members. And then what we're gonna do is, so here I've added several different options, and what is relevant for this strategy is the probability above a threshold. Okay, so this is where it's gonna compute the probability above a certain threshold. So here I want to say I want to do it for the 19 degree. So I'm gonna put 19. Okay, and what we can also do is a max age. So you might want in your strategy to not trade on stale data. So this is why I've added this method here. So say I only want to trade on a signal that is not more than say 10 minutes old. So in that case, I'm gonna do 600 seconds. Okay, so you start your strategy, you're gonna get a signal right away, but that one is gonna be maybe too old, and then it's gonna skip that. And also in case that Meteo is slow to release their signals and it's too slow, we don't want to trade on it. Or maybe you don't care. And then we can select the location. So here we can actually search for the location. I'm going to search for Shanghai. And it's going to come up with a few different options. Apparently there's Shanghai in North Carolina, USA. But for this one, we're going to use the one from China. Okay. And you can actually go ahead and test the signal here and see what it comes with. So this one here, you can see here the forecast age for this one is 13 hours. So it's already 13 hours ago it came with this forecast. So it's already pretty old. And, you know, things might have changed since then, right? But here it returns the implied probability of 31.4%. And this is for the 19 degree. If you go back to Shanghai, it's 28% currently. So there's a discrepancy there. Let me make one more. Okay, so now we have 2, and this one we're gonna change to 18. Okay. And we can test this one as well. And this one gives us 51% chance. So this one is 50%, this one 31%. Now what we want to do is, for this strategy, we want to compare them with the bid prices. So I will go ahead and add the compare node here. So the idea behind this strategy is to use the weather forecast as the source of truth. So the probability that the weather forecast comes with is what we expect to be true. So we want to compare this with what the market think that it's going to be. And this is again why it's kind of important to maybe not trade on too old data. Like, would I actually want to trade on data that's 13 hours old? Probably not. So that's why we can set this max forecast age up here. And we can do the same with this one over here. So we just connect these two so we can compare the bid price of the 19 degree market in Shanghai and then the forecast of these models. And yeah, I mean, if this is a kind of a simple example, right? We simply just check if I see that I did this wrong. So I can just change this one to greater than, like this. And yeah, again, you might want to check actually if there's some kind of a high, discrepancy. So in that case, what we could do is we could do a formula node. So for the formula node, we can do 2 mappings. Say we want to do we can map this signal here with this one here. So now these two are connected. Okay, so we have these 2 variables. So the variable 1, we can say that one is the bid, and then this one is the temperature. Okay, so let's say we do the temperature minus the bid is less than or equal to 0.1, or is less than or equal to so the forecast here is 31%. And here it actually says 27. So here we could, imply that there's an edge, right? If we say that the source of truth here is the model, right? So in this case here, we would actually see that there's So that is 27, so about a 4 to 5% edge. So let's say we want an edge of 5%, then we can do 0.05. Okay, so we can do it less than or equal to 0.05. So the temp is the probability from the model, and the bit here is the probability from Polymarket. So 31.4 minus, 27 point whatever that is, gives us some kind of an edge, and that's when we want to trade on that. And then we can go ahead and fire the buy. Of course, this is just an example. It's still a feature that I'm working in, and I still see there's some features that I want to work a little bit more on, because right now I kind of have to hard code these locations, have to hard code all of the different markets, and it's starting to get a little bit convoluted right now. We only did one market and 2 different temperatures, but in most cases that's not what you want to do. You want to scan the whole market. So I need to figure out a way to create some kind of a generic template strategy, where we can actually feed the markets dynamically. So instead of having this whole flow down here, what I'm thinking about is we have some kind of a dynamic node like this one here, where we can configure all the different markets and probabilities that we want to trade on, and then this one here should be aware of that and have that context in mind. For example, it has to figure out the forecast day offset and the threshold as well. So I think that is gonna be like the next step 2. For now, it's gonna be hard coded like this. So yeah, this is just an example of how that works. And I'm still tweaking it, because I do see that some of these forecast models return pretty different results. It might just be something in my code I need to fix. So if we go this one, icon and symbol here, see what this one returns. So yeah, so this one says 82.5%, and I think the reason here is because it's not predicting the temperature, the highest temperature, but if the temperature is higher than the value, right? So for example, if we go and take this one here, this one would say, all right, there's a 31.4% chance that the highest temperature for that day is going to be 19, while one of these other, so I'm gonna do icon here again, and this is what I'm working on right now, is I think here it says 82%, meaning that the temperature that day will be higher than 19, but it might be 22 or 23, right? And that's why it's 82, but still working on that. Let's see what else we have. So we have GEM, and I don't really know all these different models. So this one is 9.5. That doesn't really make any sense why it would be so vastly different, right? So yeah, still work in progress. I just want to show you the progress of where I am with the weather node. There's still many things to fix here in Ravn, and right now we are in beta. And if you want to participate in Ravn and have early access, you can go to the website. So that is ravn.gg. It's this website here. It's the no-code strategy builder for prediction markets. You can click this button here and then join the wait list. And yeah, we have a leaderboard right now where you can follow along the progress. We have a lot of people on leaderboard already, and it's great fun. Right now we are in the beta, and we just started that not long ago. So hopefully this is going to run smoothly the rest of the month. So I think we're gonna do this at least the entirety of April, and maybe also May. All the way down at the bottom, you can join the waitlist here, and then you can get early access when Ravn launches publicly. So with that said, I hope you're gonna have a great day, and see you at the next video. Bye bye.